Welcome to the Own It Show. You are here with myself, Heather Lee Chapman, and our special guest, Caitlin Strempel. And I'm so excited because we live to inspire, educate, and serve here in the Own It Show. And we love to have other entrepreneurs and successful women on here to inspire people to help other people see what's possible. So you all know me, your holistic performance and business coach, but I will let Caitlin introduce herself. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be so much fun. So my name is Caitlin Strempel. I am the owner and CEO of Rising Ranks Digital. We're an SEO and digital strategy agency, and we help our clients get found online and get to the top of Google so they can become the top in their industry. And we have been around for about almost 5 years now. We're all women run and we are international. We're all online. We're all, digital based. And I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. We have people from Maryland, from Texas. We have a gal in Italy and one in London. So it's really fun. And we just love to help our clients and again, just get them found online so they can become more visible.
I love that. And I also love that you've created a space and to have opportunities for other people. You're providing work for other people, in everything that's going on in the world. I just want to say kudos to you that you are adding value to people's lives, creating opportunities for entrepreneurs, and not just where you live, but globally. So hats off to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's really fun to, have a team who's supportive and just a bunch of amazing women who are doing great things.
I love that. So why don't you share a little bit about what did your entrepreneur journey look like, and just to inspire, because we all know it takes a lot to grow and step into it, and only 10% of the world is really willing to be entrepreneurs. So yeah, we'd love to hear about your journey.
Yeah, so I have always been in the marketing world. I went to college for it, and then I, graduated, and I essentially grew up in the corporate world. So I worked for agencies, I worked for big corporate global headquarters, did everything marketing, and I was doing that for about a decade. And I always had the itch for more, and I always knew I wanted to do something big. I wanted to step out on my own. And I always had that voice in the back of my head that was just like little, scared to do anything. So really, I never did anything. And I would get excited about a job. I get excited about a client. And then, 2 years down the road, I'd be burned out or I'd just be so uninspired and I'd jump to another job. So it was one of those things where it's like, I knew in the back of my head, I wanted to go out and do something big. And I would dip my toe in every now and then, do some freelancing on the side, but never really could actually push myself to just be like, okay, bye. I'm doing it on my own. So shortly after our first son was born, at 2 months, we took him in for a checkup. And it's supposed to be just a routine checkup. Like nobody was worried at all. My husband even went to the gym. I was like, oh, I don't need your help. Like you can go. And a few hours later, we were told, hey, we've already called the hospital, but you need to go to Phoenix Children's Hospital. Your son needs heart surgery. So this routine checkup turned into this crazy, crazy thing, an event. So we found out that our son was born with a heart defect. And we went to the hospital. We were, in and out for a few weeks for monitoring, for the procedure, for, back again for complications, things like that. And so it was one of those, during that time, my husband again had to travel. So it was just me at this hospital and having questions and wondering. And, it kind of was a turning point at some regards because I was just sitting there Googling on my phone. I had so many questions. I didn't call my mom. I didn't call my husband. I didn't really even ask the doctor. I pulled out my phone and turned to Google. And it made me realize that so many people are searching for things and need things, and their go-to is their phone. They turn to Google before anybody else, for anything from the pizza, the closest pizza parlor to, how do I fix my marriage? And it's crazy how many people are out there searching and what you can do for those people to show up for them in the moment of need. So shortly after we got back, I just kind of went off on my own. I really didn't look back, and I was on maternity leave, thankfully, so it wasn't like, bye everybody, like completely pieced out, but gave him a fair warning and knew that I've already faced fear. And just as a thank you for my life and, my son's life and all this, it's, there's no room to play small anymore. So that was really the turning point when I was just like, okay, I'm not afraid anymore. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, there's no turning back. And I haven't.
I,
Uh,
I
yeah.
love that. And there's no room to play small. I think in everything that you said, like that hits home so much. And sometimes it takes an emotional impact to get there. And I'm so grateful for the health of yourself, your family, your sons, and that you're all
Yes.
doing
He's
well.
all good. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
good. And just your typical 4-year-old now, almost 5-year-old. So
Amazing.
I know.
And so when that occurred, what was the moment where you were like, because we have actually someone in our Own It Mastermind program who literally just went through an experience where it was like, okay, I either go back to my job,
Mm.
or I release it and like I focus on my business. And in her words, it was she said, my business and myself deserve my best chance. I have to at least go for it.
Oh, that gave me chills. I
Oh,
love
and
that.
it melts my heart too, right? So like, what is it, like you said, there was no turning back, you're all in, but what was it that really made you do it? Was it the possibility of creating the opportunities for others, or just owning your own life and your lifestyle, or to be able to provide for your family and not have to rely on other people? Was there like one major thing?
So I remember just being out in the grass one day, and it was kind of after the dust had settled. And so when we were in the hospital, like I didn't leave at all. Like I had no sunshine, no fresh air. So I spent days, like I would just go out and like lay in the grass. So I remember just laying in the grass and just being like, oh my gosh, like I've always wanted to do this. And I had this fear, and it's not there anymore. And a big reason was to be there for my family. My husband was traveling, and I was, there's no way that I would not make myself available. And the industry that I was in at that time, it was, you're applauded for working 12-hour days, for pulling all-nighters and working the weekends. And I just was not going to live that lifestyle anymore. I was going to live a lifestyle where I could provide for my family, but also do it on my own terms and be there whenever I needed to be there.
Yeah, I love that. And for me, it was always about on my own terms too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that 100%. And you just have to say, guys, like it's possible. And I think also in what you were speaking and everything I grabbed, it was like what really helped was the why, right? Like it's
Yes.
so important to figure out that why, and that why has to be big enough, right? Because we can
Yes.
stay comfortable, we can stay in the job, we can feel safe, which may not be safe, right? Because it's
Yeah.
not guaranteed, but we can stay there in that safety zone. Or when we take a moment and make that why big enough, we see no other way than to step into that entrepreneur journey. And so I just want to say amazing congrats that you've done it, and
Oh,
you've got an amazing company. And so now let's talk about your zone of genius.
yes.
And thank you for inspiring others to step into their entrepreneurship, because for me, I really that's about owning it. Like you get to
Yeah.
own your lifestyle, what you're worth, and everything when you step into that. So you
Yeah.
doing it shows other people what's possible.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And now you've got this zone of genius where you've taken your skill sets that you've honed and harnessed over however many years of working at all those jobs. And now you get to do it for other businesses on your own terms in an environment that is conducive to growth that you've created.
Yes.
So yeah, share with us your tips and tricks on your zone of genius.
Yeah, so we really focus on digital strategy and SEO. And I want to focus on SEO just because it goes back to that point when I was personally in the hospital and realizing like, oh my gosh, so many people need help. And what a better way to impact the world than show up for them in their time of need. So if somebody's Googling how to start a business on Google, like you want to make sure you're at the top because you want to help those people. And I just strongly feel that if you're in the business of having impact and wanting to live a purposeful life and to help others, and SEO is a non-negotiable to show up for those people. So I would say first and foremost is just, make sure if you guys have a website to give yourself the opportunity for it to be visible. And nowadays with getting your website built, especially like on Squarespace, WordPress, things like that, they make it very easy to do your own SEO. And a lot of people don't necessarily know how to do it, or they don't have the time, or they don't want to do it. So even just a little bit, like 10 minutes a day or an hour a week, is going to put you so far ahead of the competition. And you really can make it your own. And it does sound scary, but ultimately, what it is you go and do your keyword research. There's free tools out there. The one I like is Uber Suggest. You go and you just, research all the phrases you want to show up for. So is it business coach? Is it how do I start a business? Is it, SEO agency? Like just type in it and see what people are searching out there, and take those keywords and put them on your web pages. What I do is I write a whole list of keywords, and I will assign a keyword to the homepage. I'll assign another keyword to the about page, and I'll go in there and I'll make sure that that keyword is in the copy. I'll make sure that I have that keyword in the headline and headlines. And if you go into the page settings of your website, you'll always see that there's a title and there's a description. That's all SEO based. So it's just making sure that that's all filled out, and you put the keywords in there that you want to show up for. So that just helps Google like understand what your website's about. So when people are searching for that, they can bring you into the forefront, into the top of Google.
And I love that. So with the search engine optimization, I had a friend before who like his number one goal was always just to optimize that on his website and be number one. And I watched him build a multi-million-dollar company. And the number one thing was the SEO, that search engine optimization, and he'd mastered it. And so it was so amazing to see. So I love that. So with the search engine, the SEO, do you use Google AdWare? I'm trying to think of the name of it now.
The Google Ads platform.
Yes.
So you can, for keyword research, you can. It is more geared towards Google Ads. So you can still see how many people are searching for it, but the competition is usually a little bit different than organic, paid versus organic. So Uber Suggest is great because it shows you the paid difficulty. So the difficulty on how to rank if you were to pay for ads for it versus do it organically on your own. So you can kind of see the difference. But yeah, both of them, Uber Suggest or Google Ads platform, the keywords research tool, that all works.
And that's why that one-liner, that tagline is so important, because that's what's coming up. And would you say that blogs are coming back now because of the SEO?
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Yes. 100% yes. And just the way that Google has transformed their algorithm, and I say Google, but it's really all the platforms like Yahoo, Bing. But they really are focused on people serving other people and providing their searchers with a really great experience. So that really comes about with quality content on your website, making sure that you're writing content that gets people engaged, gets people coming back, and serves a purpose. So now more than ever, Google is loving blog posts. And for me personally, I love to write and I love to create video. And that's the easy part for me is, writing a blog post. But then you can either go in and just not have the blog post, but you can go repurpose it. So, if you are on social media, take little blurbs from that and create little posts, or, create little image cards or quote cards. So you can do a lot with it that goes beyond just SEO.
Absolutely. And what we've started doing, which is a huge help, is transcribing episodes like this and putting them up as our blog posts, because why not repurpose content, right? And then we've got it on all of our platforms on video in little chunks, and then pinning it to Pinterest, and getting that whole cycle of repurposing that content is so helpful as an entrepreneur.
It is, and people get so scared by it. But I think if you kind of just create like a workflow, whether, like you can start simple, like you can start with a blog post in Facebook and Instagram, and then kind of build on there. If you want to get into Pinterest, if you want to, repurpose it for emails, but just start slow and be consistent with it. And because, SEO is definitely a time commitment, and in regards to getting results. So you have to earn your spot. Whereas, with ads, you pay for your spot at the top. But once you're at the top, just the leads keep coming, and guaranteed, if you're just doing a little bit every day, you will be ahead of your competition.
And so what would be the 3 tasks that you would want to do daily for search engine optimization?
Okay, so I'd first look at the keywords and put those on your website or create blog content from them and go in and update the settings in your page. So it's a title tag and meta description. Those are what they're called. Or it's either going to be page title or page description, depending on what builder you're in. And just go and you can Google the best practices, for title tags. It's just a little blurb. You want to put your keyword in there that it describes what your page is about. The meta description is, the little lengthier. So for those who don't know, the title tag is when you go and search on Google, there's that blue little link that you click. That's a title tag. And the description underneath that is a description. Just go in every day and kind of, just make those little updates. Also make sure that you are you sign up for Google Analytics and Google Search Console. So that is Google Analytics will show you where your traffic's coming from and how it's converting and what content is converting the best, which is good for your blog posts. And Google Search Console, another free, lesser known Google platform, is all about how you're ranking. So you want to do that first and foremost, I would say, just because it's always nice to know where you've started. And it will give you tips and tricks on how to optimize a lot more faster and a lot more effectively, so you can get to the top more quickly.
I love those. I love actionable items. Everybody
Yeah.
go to your website and get started on that today, because
Yes.
it is the new wave of the future. It really is that SEO. And we had my business coach warned us about it, start blogging again. I think it was about 3 months ago, because of
Really?
the changes.
Yes.
Yeah, and the algorithm and everything. So we started transcribing and creating the blog posts that way. So
Oh,
absolutely.
so good. That's music to my ears. I know.
Any other tips and tricks that you have for our audience on SEO, search engine optimization, or marketing online?
Oh, so many. I mean, the first one I see too is that a lot of people get caught up in SEO in the keywords. And yes, you want to include the keywords, but also don't sound like a robot. Be true to your brand, be true to your vibe, who you are, what your personality is, and people that's going to get people coming back. Is them really getting to know your personality, and Google will see that and Google will reward you for that. So don't just go like straight out of the gate and just try to, filter in all these keywords on your website, but really stay true to who you are and what your voice is.
Love that. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Caitlin, where can we check you out more, learn more about you, work with you? What are your services? Guys, this is huge coming up. This is something you really, really want to dive into and look into. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on today, because I know that this zone of genius is so important for entrepreneurs to really take the reach to the next level. So where can we find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram. Those are like my 2 places that I love to play with. Caitlin Strempel. And then our website is risingranksdigital.com. And we offer done for you SEO services. We offer SEO website audits. And we also offer content development and content strategy plans.
Awesome. I love that. So you can strategize that SEO on that content.
All those blog posts. Yes.
I love it. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time and energy. And we're so grateful to have had you on today, guys. I hope you are feeling inspired. So we weren't all born entrepreneurs. We've all gone through our journey, but now take that zone of genius. What is your skill set? What is your passion? What can you help people with? You only need to be one step ahead of others to guide them. And there are people out there waiting for you to help them, whether it's to help them be entrepreneurs or to launch their own businesses or do the SEO or whatever your zone of genius is. So just bet on yourself, jump in, and then make sure you reach out to Caitlin so that you can take your business a level above the rest. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I love all of that. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Absolutely my pleasure. Guys, expect magic and miracles and stay happy, healthy, and wealthy.